From high atop Robinson Manor, live out of West Palm Beach, Florida, it's your boy, Jake Robinson, with the Jake Robinson Sports Experience coming through. I gotta tell you, I'm feeling pretty frisky today. A little bit feisty. I'm your boy, Jake the Snake. This is the Jake Robinson Sports Experience. Want to thank y'all for tuning in today. We're talking all things baseball. Baseball is a 365-day-a-year business, and I make it my business to cover it every single one of those days. And the fact that you're out there listening right now, I am truly blessed and I am truly honored. Like I said, it's your boy, Jake the Snake Robinson. And I gotta tell you that I'm a little bit overdosed on the winter meetings. I feel like now I can just let my breath out and try to assess what I just saw and everything that just happened in the past 4 or 5 days. I mean, it's been a whirlwind, and honestly, when I was prepping for this show, I was like, where are the big stars? No one's getting signed. But I kind of expected that. If you listen to my last podcast show, I told you that, Scott Boras is slow as they come, baby. And initially, Shohei Ohtani held up the market in the beginning of this. And now it looks like Scott Boras is going to dictate the pace of these signings going forward. There's been a few bullpen signings. These relief pitchers, they've been at a premium so far. And I addressed that in the last show, too. I'm looking at the Colorado Rockies. They fortified their bullpen. They just signed Jake McGee. They got Brian Shaw a couple days ago. I mean, really, mostly paltry signings. Freddie Galvis signed by the San Diego Padres. And I found it kind of humorous that people would think that just because Freddie Galvis signed with the San Diego Padres, all of a sudden that's going to make Eric Hosmer want to join the San Diego Padres. Now, look, I'm not saying that Eric Hosmer has no interest in signing with the San Diego Padres and hasn't probably sat down and had a face-to-face. But, come on. You really think that just because Freddie Galvis is on the San Diego Padres, that's going to be the clincher right there to make Eric Hosmer join that team? And I know Eric Hosmer is from Miami. He's from down here, South Beach. But nobody wants to come here and play. Derek Jeter's chasing everybody away. So maybe he wants to play in a place that's kind of like Miami, except on the West Coast, and maybe that's San Diego, but really, I don't know. I just think if Eric Hosmer signed in San Diego for the Padres, that would just be awful. What a waste. I mean, let's face it. Freddie Galvis is only there he's a 1 or 2 year at the most holdover until Fernando Tatis Jr. takes that shortstop position. I mean, what are we talking about? Eric Hosmer at the San Diego Padres. And these are some of the rumors that are flying around. The Yankees agreed to a 1-year, $10 million contract with CC Sabathia. It makes sense. I don't think there was any shock there. There's a real comfort level between the Yankees and CC Sabathia. And CC's value is probably better in New York City than it is anywhere else. So, as we've talked about, there are some question marks in that Yankees rotation. I know a lot of these Yankees fans who are full of piss and vinegar right now. They're going to tell you, we don't even need pitchers. We just got this lineup and we will smash everyone into the ground. Who cares who the pitchers are? Yeah, well, I got real questions marks with Montgomery and Sessa. So I think CC is a good sign for them. But I mean, other than that, there really wasn't much going on. Fernando Rodney, I love that dude. 15-year career, 3-time All-Star, 300 saves, career 3.73 ERA. He just signed with the Minnesota Twins. Now, look, this guy, this is now his 9th team in the Major League in a 15-year career. He's played for the Tigers, the Rays, the Angels, the M's, the Snakes, the Pods, the Cubs, Marlins, and now the Twins. $4.5 million contract 1 year with a team option in 2019. And the Twins were really knocking on the door last year. I thought Paul Molitor did an amazing job with the Minnesota Twins. I mean, nobody expected the Twins to be what they were last year. And I think last year they realized that we're ready to compete. And our major weakness is our bullpen. And specifically the closer. I mean, it hasn't been the same since Glenn Perkins experienced arm problems 3 years ago. They've gone through their Kevin Jepsons, Brandon Kitzlers, Matt Bellal. All these guys have taken ineffective turns in the past 3 years in that bullpen. So, Fernando Rodney, a pretty solid, serviceable closer. He goes to the Twins, 4.5. He had 39 saves last year for the Snakes. The Twins hope to eventually turn that role over to their future closer candidates. They got a couple of kids down on the farm. Jake Reed, JT Chargois. I don't know, man. And maybe I'm spoiled watching Zach Britton for the last 5-6 years, close out games. I like Fernando Rodney from afar because, I mean, he's just exciting. He'll load the bases and then strike out the next 3 guys and be shooting his arrow into the distance. I mean, if it was on my team, he'd give me an aneurysm. But it's good to see the Twins. The Twins are trying to spend a little money. They're trying to spend the money that they can. Which leads me to my next, I guess this is kind of a segue into what we're going to talk about for the most part today. And I haven't seen any owners, any of these teams, nobody is spending money. Significant money, I should say. Like I said, we've seen bullpen guys. We've seen Hunter and Shaw and Murrow and Cishak and Nishak. We've seen bullpen arms get signed up like they're filet mignon, like they are premium value right now. Now look, I want to be honest with you. I work another job, you know, I gotta supplement my income. I know I should be like a media mogul over here, but I just made my first 13 cents the other day. That's how it all starts. You know. So I'm at my job and I'm looking on Twitter and I see that the Braves and the Dodgers made a crazy trade. And honestly, I was confused. I really thought it was a fake Twitter account when I read it. And I don't know about anybody else, but I was confused by that trade when I first read. My initial response was, what the hell am I looking at? And I want to dig into this a little bit. And as soon as this trade went down, Jesse Lastaglia and Brian McCann, they were like, Jake, please make sense of this. So I did my due diligence, and I'm going to try to the best of my ability to make sense of this trade, because I think we're seeing a disturbing trend here. And I'd like to open a couple eyes to it. By now, everybody knows what I'm talking about. The Dodgers send Adrian Gonzalez, Scott Kazmir, Brandon McCarthy, Charlie Culberson, and cash consideration to the Atlanta Braves for Matt Kemp. Let that sink in real quick. I say to you, the Dodgers sent Adrian Gonzalez, Scott Kazmir, Brandon McCarthy, and Charlie Culberson with cash considerations to the Atlanta Braves for the Mets. That just went over like a fart in church. You smell that? Now look, I'm going to tell you, a lot of these moves so far are beginning to smell like NBA trades. To me, we're seeing an evolution in the economic system of baseball right now. We are witnessing it. And people who are for salary cap in baseball, I'm going to tell you, we have a salary cap in baseball right now, and this is what this economic system creates. I am not for a salary cap. I say to you once again, the Dodgers sent Adrian Gonzalez, Scott Kazmir, Brandon McCarthy, Charlie Culberson, cash considerations to Atlanta Braves for the Mets. This is a cash-neutral deal. And it helps the Dodgers get under that $197 million luxury tax threshold. The luxury tax threshold is a salary cap. I'm not sure if any of you know, what is the luxury tax? What is the threshold? And I'm not even going to sit here and pretend that I'm an economics major by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I got a Balmer education. It is what it is. I do the best with what I got. Go Comets. So, look, I'm not an economics major. I just play one of the podcasts. Jake Robinson Sports Experience, half man, half podcast machine. I got your hookup. Holler if you hear me. What is the luxury tax? I hear a lot of us, we run around, we say, oh yeah, well the Yankees want to get under the luxury tax. Well, what is the luxury tax? Do any of you really know what the luxury tax is? The threshold is, well, look, my understanding is, and I did a lot of homework on this, your boy was on his job. Anytime that carries payroll over the threshold, which is at $197 right now, is taxed on each dollar above that threshold. As per rules agreed to by the collective bargaining agreement of 2012, a club exceeding the $197 million threshold for the first time, they're going to pay a 20% tax. Okay, so, you know, it's a little slap on the hand. This is your first time. Don't do that anymore. We're going to make you feel shame. You're not allowed to do that. If you go over this threshold, we're going to smack you in your hand and tell you to stop.
My pleasure.
So you get a 20% tax for the first time that they exceed $197 million. A